What's up guys, my name is Christian, I'm a PA student, and in this video I'm going to discuss my plans after graduating PA school. I've always been the type of person to kind of think ahead. It gets me through a lot of difficult and hard times when I'm kind of doubting myself. I kind of think ahead into the future, and I like to kind of plan out my future to the details, and that kind of helps me take off of my mind whatever's going on currently. So I've had a lot of time to think about what I'm going to do after PA school, and obviously there's been a lot of stressful times in PA school, so I've kind of planned everything out to the last detail, which I know typically doesn't work, but when I planned out everything in pre-PA school, everything kind of transferred over to PA school, and I kind of overachieved on some of those goals. So I set pretty lofty goals post-graduation, and while I know it'll take a lot of work to get there, some of them will come to fruition, and I just wanted to share with you what my plans are kind of post-graduation to give you guys an idea of what's possible and what you could think about on your own, because a lot of people don't really consider what they're going to do after graduation. A lot of people don't know that they don't know what specialty they're going to go into, so on and so forth. And well, a lot of what I'm going to talk about is the financial aspects of things. Whatever specialty you go into, you're going to earn a specific wage range, so anywhere from maybe 80,000 to over 100,000. So you're going to have a pretty decent income to work with after graduation. So the financial aspect of this will apply to no matter what specialty you go in after graduation, which you might not find out until you actually go on that rotation and realize that you love this. You may change your mind from what you thought originally. So a lot of this will be kind of based on your personality and your personal interests, but the financial part of it kind of sticks and applies to everybody. So for me, I am a NHSC scholarship recipient, National Health Service Corps, and they covered my full tuition, and I received a monthly stipend, which has allowed me to not only cover my living expenses, but it allowed me to invest and save up a reasonable sum that sets me up post-graduation to kind of get a kind of a head start on things. So with that kind of coverage comes a service commitment. So my first 2 years post-graduation, I have to work in family medicine in an underserved community. This means a lot to me as somebody who grew up myself in an underserved community and kind of faced health disparities that come along with living in an area where there's not great healthcare coverage. After those 2 years, I plan on moving out of family medicine, maybe stay a little bit longer, but eventually go to full-time emergency medicine or urgent care. During my 2-year service commitment in family medicine, I hope to work per diem, either urgent care or emergency medicine. I've talked with a few people who've actually done this, and other people who have looked into this and said it's fairly easy to find a per diem urgent care or emergency medicine job as long as you kind of meet the qualifications. To kind of get a head start on this, I have an elective rotation in emergency medicine. My school offers a kind of specialty track to do this. So I'm going to have 15 weeks of emergency medicine, so I'm hoping that that experience will help me land a job later down the road, either when I graduate or when I become a full-time emergency medicine PA after I finish my family medicine service commitment. So that will allow me a little extra money. I'm sorry if you noticed the sudden change in lighting there. My battery in my camera died, so I had to charge it for about an hour and then come back to recording here. So I don't remember where I left off, but I think I was talking about having a kind of per diem job on top of having a full-time job and how that could give you a little extra cash to have some leeway with what your plans are financially. So let me grab my paper here while I do the math. So a full-time emergency medicine job or urgent care job can earn you anywhere from maybe $50 to $90 an hour. You're going to get paid at a premium rate like I do now working as a per diem PTA. So if I make maybe $60 an hour, and I work 10 hours every week on my per diem job, so maybe like 10 hours on Saturday or 10 hours on Sunday, that would be an extra $600 a week if I did that consistently every week of the year. And that would bring me to an extra $31,000 without tax. So that takes your income from, if you're at 80, it takes you to about 110. If you're at $100,000, it brings you to 130,000. So you can see how just working that extra day every week at a premium wage really helps you get closer to your financial goals. So my goal financially when I graduate is to invest my girlfriend's income entirely. So that would leave my income at anywhere at 110,000 to 120,000. That's just my income. My girlfriend's income as well is going to be anywhere from 50 to 70,000 around that time. She works as a surgical assistant, and she is planning on becoming a first assist surgical assistant, which can increase her income anywhere from 20 to 30,000, depending on where she's working and what the physician agreement is. So with that, my goal is to live off of her income and invest my entire income. So we would have a joint account. It's not like we're just living off of what she makes. We would consider our money the same to be a combined income. So it just helps kind of organize the finances. I don't want it to seem like we're just living off of what she's doing. But basically it would be living off of 50,000, minus taxes. So we'd be living pretty frugally. And then investing whatever my income is. So anywhere from 110 to 130,000 every year. And you could tell by 5 or 10 years down the road, that would be a significant sum of money. 10 years, I would have invested about over $1 million. And over 10 years, that $1 million would have increased at a 7% interest rate. Well, 8 to 10% every year. I didn't really do the math on that, I didn't think of that, but the goal is to be millionaires by 40 at the maximum, and anywhere from 35 to 40 is kind of a lofty kind of goal. The goal is to reach financial independence as soon as possible. Financial independence means you're not relying on your job or your income to survive. You have enough in investments that bring you investment income, or anything from business that allows you to kind of quit your job and semi-retire and still be able to live off of those investment income. So on top of investing this and living off of what we're living off of, you might think, oh, how are you going to live off of $50,000 a year and afford your rent and so on and so forth? When I graduate, I don't plan on renting. Maybe I will for a little bit, depending on how things kind of play out with my first job. But I do plan on finding a property to purchase when I graduate. So the idea is to avoid a big mortgage payment. There's a thing called house hacking. So house hacking involves buying a duplex, which is a property with 2 units. So you would live in one and a tenant would live in the other. Or you could have a triplex or a quadplex, meaning 2 units, 3 units, or 4 units. So the duplex is going to be a little bit cheaper and the quadplex is going to be pretty expensive. So I have a set amount of what I'm willing to put down for a down payment. And this depends highly on the area that I'm working in when I graduate. So there may be, in big cities, there will be a very high purchase rate, so I may not be able to buy as expensive a property like a quadplex or a triplex. And there's other rural areas where a quadplex would be more reasonable for what I'm able to put down for a down payment. So with that, if you have a duplex or a triplex, or especially a quadplex, the idea is your tenants will be able to, what they give you for rent, that's able to cover your mortgage payment and maybe actually get a little bit of profit off of that. So that would allow us to more comfortably live off of that $50,000 when you don't have that big, mortgage payment. So for most college graduates, I really wouldn't recommend this idea of house hacking. I would recommend definitely putting down at least a 20% down payment on the property. If you don't have at least 20%, you'll have to pay what's called private mortgage insurance. The interest rates on this are typically decently high, and it's just an expense that you don't really have to deal with if you're able to afford that 20%. And I recommend giving maybe over 20% up to 50% if possible. That way you don't have as much debt leverage. And if you have like a vacancy or something where you're not able to fill that unit, you're going to be losing money every month. And since you're already kind of living on a new budget as a new grad, trying to pay off your debt and so on and so forth, and trying to adjust to your new job, you don't want the added stress of having to worry about making that large mortgage payment. So I would definitely try to do at least 20%. If you don't have the 20%, I would just rent for a little bit until you could afford that 20%, like I said, or more, and then go ahead and purchase the property if you find a good deal. So for me, I plan on putting down anywhere between 20 to 50% depending on the price of the property. It'll probably be closer to that lower range because I probably won't be able to find a great deal, and if I do, it'll probably be a fixer-upper. So that's what I plan on doing post-graduation, at least for the next 5 years after graduation. I don't know where I'll go.